Just one moment.
Do you want
Even more.
Obviously!
See, I'm greed. I want everything you can think of.
Then I propose a deal.
Equivalent exchange! I'll give you
More.
awesome!
Videos.
If you
Please.
Like.
Comment.
Subscribe.
Sorry about that interruption.
We're off! Let's hit the road!
The first thing we're going to do in every single stream starting this week is going to be like a little quick anime review. I watch a lot of anime on the side. I'm sure you guys do the same. And so I figure every week I will talk about a particular show. Yeah, we're going to go through a couple of animes, one anime a week. Okay, the first one we're going to talk about is Blue Gender. So if you guys don't know about Blue Gender, it's an older show. It came out in 1999. There's no manga source for it, as far as I know. It kind of like Geass and Gungrave, which will be next week's topic, by the way. It has no official source material. It's some people can consider it to be similar to, what is that movie, Starship Troopers? And when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, very similar. But then after like the first couple episodes, I'm like, nah, not really. The only similarity between the two shows is, this is a show and that's a movie, is that the characters are fighting bug-like creatures that took over Earth. But the circumstances, the overall tone, the characters, very different. I mean, Blue Gender is about, basically, it starts off where these people are being recovered. You don't really know why. They're apparently called sleepers. And the person who's recovering them is Marlene, part of her group. She recovers. The only guy who survives from the group was Yuji. So the story is basically about Yuji and Marlene, and they're trying to survive on Earth. And the reason why I won't say, because this is a non-spoiler review, although I will say it gets very interesting. And what's interesting about the story is that it has like a bunch of different arcs in it. So there's like the first part where they meet up, and then they get to know each other, and then there's another situation happens, then they fall back to another place, and then with each of these different arcs in the story, there's like different tones. The first one's kind of like survival horror, and then you get more of a militaristic one, then politics, and then a romance story, which is interesting. And I will say, considering this is not a romance anime, like the typical ones you may have heard of, I will say they did a good job. This was one of the better romance stories I've seen in probably a long time. And that's saying something because I've watched over 200 animes, which I guess isn't a lot. There's how many in existence? 30,000? But how many are available to actually watch on streaming sites or DVDs? Maybe 10K. So either way, it was a pretty good show. The best parts about it are obviously Marlene. If you don't know who she is, she's the main character. Actually, I can show you a quick image of her. So I'll just zoom in on her. And can we do full screen here? Where's my full screen option? I think it's F2, right? Nope. F11? Nope. That thing will move you. Nope. Whatever. This is Marlene. She's the main character of the story. And then she works with this guy here, Yuji, who is the guy they recovered. And so the entire story is the two of these people, the two of them trying to survive in a futuristic, I'd say dystopian almost, because the entire planet is consumed by these monsters called the Blue, which I should have mentioned that earlier. And they look like, is there any in here? Oh, actually not this episode. Give me 1 second here. Let me switch back to me real quick. I'll show you a quick image of them. The Blue are like these giant, they eat organic, inorganic matter. It's actually kind of interesting because they consider humans to be a nuisance. Most of the time you watch these anime where there's like a creature consuming humanity, and usually they will specifically target humans, and these creatures don't seem to care. They're more targeting everything, and in fact, we're so annoying they put us into these not me, but in the story they put these people into these cocoons, and they feed on them later, or some kind of, not a cocoon, but some kind of mashup with a bunch of bodies. It's kind of nasty, to be honest. I'm trying to find an image. Yeah, here we go, I found one. Yeah, let me open this up. Okay, now, back to my sharing. Here we go. So, actually, let's just show you the whole thing here. So yeah, here it is. They put the humans into these wrap-ups, and then they consume them later for energy. There's more of that. Blue are gigantic, by the way, in case you weren't aware. That's why they have to use gigantic robots to fight them. Like, these things they're massive. Like, this is that's a building, by the way. These things are, and these are their hives, because they basically consume the whole planet. And so that's kind of that's kind of Blue Gender in a nutshell. If you're looking for a really good story with a good female lead, which is, I mean, like a serious female lead. There's no like jokes here in that sense. You get good development with the characters. There's good action sequences. Music is good too, by the way. Ending and I'm not a big fan of the opening, but the ending is very good. The whole political stuff in this, which is unexpected but pretty good. And one of the best parts of the story too is that I was hooked after each episode. I wanted to keep watching more. Some shows I watch, I'm like, okay, is this over yet? But with Blue Gender, like it never seemed to stop. It was just, I was like, okay, what's the next one? What's the next one? The constant need to keep going. Like I watched a show, I binged it over a couple of days, and not because I was in a rush to get over with, but I had to know what was going to happen. And it's very rare when I watch a show like that where I absolutely am completely involved with the characters and what's going on with the story. And I like the characters. I know some people don't like Yuji's character. I've saw a couple reviews. There's not too many. Blue Gender is not highly talked about. For obvious reasons, it wasn't that popular when it came out. I think he was on Toonami too, by the way. But anyways, people didn't like Yuji's character. I believe the complaint was, what was it? Like he was a whiny guy and he was constantly annoying and like I don't care. Look, you understand the situation, right? He just woke up in a future where the entire world's been consumed by bugs, gigantic bugs, like size of like I don't know, it's not skyscrapers, but maybe tanks. And so his response is, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" And considering he went from that kind of scared mindset to, okay, what can I do to help out the team and be kind of productive? That was fine. The interesting part of the story too, and this is a little bit spoiler, but not too big of spoilers, is that Yuji goes from kind of a more timid guy, friendly, emotional, to kind of like a machine. And then Marlene goes from kind of like a machine, emotionless person to a very emotional one. So they kind of flip the roles as the story progresses, which is one of the cool dichotomies of the story. I will mention, though, the ending was kind of controversial, although I liked it. I thought it was fine. I can see why, though, because there was a lot of ambiguity, and people don't like ambiguity. They want answers. Well, you don't get answers, all right? I'm just kidding. I mean, I understand that. I mean, there's a lot of shows I watch where I just don't know exactly what was the outcome, and it'd be nice if they told you, but I think in this case, it made sense because this is not that kind of story, although you think it is though when you're watching it, like, oh, military fighting bugs, but they kind of put it all together in actually a pretty cohesive unit. Some people say that the middle episodes, not middle, but like 15 through 20 are kind of boring. It never happened to me. Maybe when I rewatch it again, maybe I'll take off my, I guess my first time viewing glasses and I'll go back through it and realize there might have been flaws in the story. But from what I watched, I was very attached to the characters, which was a mistake, and I was also very attached to the story. And there was like a lot of like well done development of each of the side characters, and they did a good job hinting at one of the weird parts of the story, which maybe they'll talk about, where sex in this story, and not to go too much into this, but the relationships with the characters or people in general is not very it's not intimate like it is in our time, because people are living in a point where they could die any day, so people just naturally just hook up, and it's completely loveless, and it's literally nothing. You see it all the time in the show, but they don't do it to a point where it becomes like I don't know, obnoxious or stupid. It's just like, oh, okay, they're just doing that, fine, whatever. People act casually around it. No one draws attention to it, which kind of adds to the whole world building of the story. And I guess somewhat realism, because if you knew you could die any second because of you're literally in a war zone, I guess you'd act that way. And it's been like, I think like 10 years since the bugs took over. So society has really gone to the crapper over the last 10 years. I think it's actually not too far from our time period. Well, let's hope scientists are not are not experimenting with random cells on bugs, because or animals too. Cause I really don't want to end up like it. But if I'll give it the anime a final grade, I give it probably an 8 out of 10 after my first viewing. Definitely recommend it. It's 26 episodes and flies by really quick. You want a fun action anime that encompasses mecha, romance, sci-fi, politics, horror. You got to hear. So that's Blue Gender, and it was definitely worth the watch. Next week is going to be Gungrave, if you guys haven't seen that one. And like I said at the beginning, if you guys have recommendations for shows for me to review in this quick, like, how long we do this for? Like 10 minutes? Yeah, for like 10-minute reviews, just let me know.